City of Stevens Point Police and Fire Commission meeting, recorded October 4, 2022.
Call to order the Police and Fire Commission on October 4th. First item on the agenda is roll call. Leanne, please call the roll.
Kirchling.
Here.
Moore.
Here.
Rozek.
Here.
Ostrowski.
Here.
And Taylor.
Here.
Excellent. All are here and accounted for. Number 2 is the President's report. I don't have a lot of items on the agenda today. I wanted to thank Officer Bean for his years of service and wish him a happy retirement. And wish Ron Carlson the best of everything. And if there's anything we can do for you, Ron, please reach out. Other than that, moving on to agenda item number 3 is the approval of minutes from last month's meeting. You all should have them in your packet. I'm sure you've all read them with great attention because of their fondness and well done that Leanne did.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes
Thank you,
from last
Joe.
month's meeting.
We have a motion.
Second, Mrozek.
Seconded by Mrozek. Any comments or questions? Any comments or questions from the audience? Seeing none. All in approval, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Motion carries. Moving on to agenda item number 4, which is the confirmation of bills. Mr. Ostrowski, please.
On your behalf, I did review all these, and there was nothing that stood out to me that weren't discussion. Most of them are just common, ordinary expenses, nothing really out of whack. Other than I point out, we can see what the cost of living is doing to us. All you have to do is look under the gas and electric charges, and that's before this fall. So I suspect that's one item that's really going to go up. But based on my review, I don't see anything. I do want to commend both departments because they are doing a brilliant job of staying within budget. And I remind my commissioners to add the current month to the running total to get your true expenses to date. With that, I would make a motion to approve all bills as submitted.
Taylor seconds.
I have a second by Taylor. Any other comments or questions by any of the members?
Chiefs, we're coming up, we're pretty much in the last quarter now. Is there anything you guys are seeing that we should be concerned about running over budget?
We're actually doing very well right now.
Correct. Currently, the fire budget's at 31%, and the EMS budget's at 32%, and with the time remaining this year, we should be around 27%. So we're still within reason to be just fine for the end of the year.
Wonderful. Thank you, guys. That's all I have.
Excellent. We have a motion and a second. Any further comments? Any questions or comments from the audience? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Agenda item number 5 is the approval to hire Officer Jaden Solis.
Correct. So obviously with Lieutenant Bean's announcement for retirement, he did finish his last shift this morning at 6 a.m. Back during our last hiring process, we hired Sam and Jason, and we had 3 individuals that actually did very well in the background and interview process. So on June 7th, I had requested an eligibility list for Jaden Solis by the Police and Fire Commission, which was approved. And after I had received Lieutenant Bean's notice of retirement, I had Assistant Chief Rotier reach out to Jaden to see if he was still interested in the position here at the Stevens Point Police Department. He said he was very excited. And Detective Aaron Yenter completed a secondary background, which is very minimal because we had just done one. But Jaden is from Amherst. He wants to come back home. He attended Fox Valley Technical College and graduated in May of 2020. He has an associate's degree in criminal justice. He earned a 3.57 GPA. While attending Fox Valley Technical College, he actually worked for the Oshkosh Police Department as a community service officer. After Fox Valley Tech, he attended the 720-hour academy at Fox Valley Tech, and upon completion of that in December of 2020, Oshkosh Police Department hired him as a certified law enforcement officer in January of 2021. We looked at Oshkosh Police Department's evaluations of Jaden. He met or exceeded all expectations in all the categories on his evaluation in communication, authority, confidence, empathy, listening, self-control, decision-making, willingness to learn, self-initiated field activity, report writing. Jaden's background indicates that he'd be a great addition to the Stevens Point Police Department, and I'm looking for the Police and Fire Commission's approval to start Jaden in late October, early November, pending successful completion of his psychological and medical exams.
Okay.
I'll make a motion if there's no questions.
I was putting one together, so
Well,
you
we
go
need,
ahead.
we need a motion and a second before we can have questions.
A motion for approval to hire Jaden Solis pending, in late October, early November, pending the successful completion of psychological and medical exams.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Does anyone have any questions?
Where would you, if you made the offer to hire, when do you think he would actually start becoming a full-time officer?
We would hope that he'd become a full-time officer, step 0 of the FTO process, October 31st, is what we're hoping.
Okay.
If we can get all these other things put in
Okay.
place.
Chief, with that, we would be then back at full strength again?
Correct,
Okay.
at 46.
Wonderful.
Wonderful, okay.
That's good news. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion is approved to hire Officer Jaden Solis. Agenda item number 6 is the police chief's report. Please.
Just to go over a couple notes of interest. First of all, one of the things I did not put on here was we received a $150 donation from the Knights of Columbus towards our new canine therapy dog. Obviously, the first thing listed is Greg Bean's retirement. He's actually served 25 years here with the Stevens Point Police Department, but he's got a total of 29 years experience in law enforcement. So this morning, a bunch of us came in early, and at about 6 o'clock, we put a flag above the PD, and we'll be taking it down tomorrow, and that'll be issued to him during his retirement gathering, which is at 10 o'clock tomorrow here at the Stevens Point Police Department. The other things, we have an incredible community. Jack Stan Car Crews, they meet every Saturday, and what they've decided to do is raise money and funds for all the canines in Portage County. And after this year's events, they ended up giving us and donating $5,000 to the canine unit for us, for Portage County, and the $2,500 to Plover PD as well. So very, very gracious donation on that. The therapy dog that we've been looking at, with the approval of the PFC, we ended up selecting Officer Chris Marshall, who is our school resource officer, as the primary handler of that dog. And I've contacted Blueberry Cottages. I've given them his demographics. They want to know his age, if he's married with children, and so they're going to choose the correct dog for us. And they're going to give me a call as soon as it's born. And we're looking at hopefully implementing that or starting the process of the training in late winter, early spring, so February, March is what we're looking at. We've done some fundraisers this month. We went to the Lights of Christmas, which is similar to the one we did at Pizza Ranch. We did it at Culver's. I know that in tips alone, we raised almost $1,000. I'm not sure what the total end result was because we also got proceeds from the sales that day. We did Coffee with a Cop at Fanny's Restaurant over on the east side, and we were attended by Alder Kneebone. It was, yes. Yeah. With the approval of the commission for a full-time CSO, we put that out about 7 days ago. It ends tomorrow. We've already got 28 applications.
Nice.
For a full-time CSO here at the Stevens Point Police Department.
That's pretty nice.
And our SWAT team this month competed in a competition with 5 other teams from Marathon County, Wood County, Portage County. And I'm proud to say that our team took first in that competition.
Outstanding.
Then we also got donations from the Point Bach Run and the Stevens Point Brewery, each for $1,000 apiece for auxiliary. As you know, auxiliary are individuals that volunteer their time, and they do a lot of these events like special runs. And again, gracious enough to donate $1,000 each to the auxiliary unit. Officer Jason Dinger and Sam Hessel are progressing incredibly through the FTO process, and they have both advanced to step 3. And we are looking at Jason being on solo patrol November 1st if everything goes well, and then Sam just shortly after that. And then if you look at my minutes or my notes, what I did add to the notes is SROs and their activities at the local schools. That's one of the things we did not ever put on here, but I think it's important for all of you just to kind of look through there to see the things that the SROs deal with on a daily basis as well. Oh, and one more thing. I have to get your approval. So we brought this up the last time we had our meeting for the pink badges. I had explained that 10 of us officers actually purchased our own badges, and that we think it was probably a money thing, that they didn't want to buy their own, and that's why they didn't purchase them. As of right now, I can't say the name, but an anonymous donor, if your approval is okay, would like to donate $3,600 to buy all the other officers' badges, pink badges, for next October. And what we would do is, the 10 badges that were bought, these individuals like myself would keep ours and just reuse it. The ones that are purchased, we would actually have a sign-out form that they would sign out, and then after October, we'd get them back. And since that all happened, we've actually had several more officers approach us now and actually want to purchase a pink badge. So I'm looking for your approval as well to accept a $3,600 donation from this anonymous individual, and I will be able to identify this person after the process is completed, if it's approved.
So these badges would be reused each October?
Yep, correct. Just like our pins.
Jerry, do we need to make a motion on that then?
Sure.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the $3,600 anonymous donation for the purchase of the pink badges.
I would like to second that.
And accept the report and place it on file.
And accept the report and place it on file.
Excellent. Second.
That'll be a second on
Okay.
everything.
Any questions or comments?
There's a lot to be excited about this report. Chief, how's the police, Portage County Citizens Academy coming along?
It is going very well. Officer Mike Schultz is the one who actually oversees it for our department. He comes in, obviously, on his Saturdays, works with them for EVOC and DAT, and I think this month it might be deadly force scenarios out at the Plover Range.
What is a P&P warrant?
Probation and parole.
Okay. There seem to be a lot of more firearm incidents this month. Am I reading that right?
Again, I think it was last month or the month before, I pointed out all of the firearms that we're seeing on a daily basis. But yes,
It just seems
it's
more and
becoming
more and
consistent
more and
now.
more.
I know.
Right, okay.
Yep. I'm sorry about the P&P. I actually have been going through all these all the time and making sure I don't put acronyms in there, but I must
No
have missed
worries,
that one.
no worries.
I want to compliment you for keep on bringing that to us, because we can't explain to the public when we're questioned if we don't know anything about it. I really thank you for that. This is something that I've been watching since my years on the thing, and there is a definite trend, and it's actually scary.
Well, just for the 2 young men in the audience, the SRO is School Resource Officers, if you didn't know. If there's any other questions, we'll be happy to answer.
Good.
Or the chief will, anyway.
Absolutely.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further comments or questions about that agenda item? Okay, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Motion carries. Agenda item number 7 is a discussion with possible action for long-term agreement with the Village of Park Ridge for fire department services.
A quick
Chief
question.
Moody's. Yes.
On the last item agenda, don't we have to, because I didn't mention that in my motion, to approve the police chief's report, so I think we
You
need to.
did, that's what I added to it.
Oh,
I had
that's-
you add
Did
the
you?
report, approve the
All right,
report, and
that's,
place it
that
on
is,
file.
all right.
Gotcha. Well done.
I want to
Joe.
make sure it's right.
Absolutely. Okay, Chief Moody, off to you now.
All right. So as everybody knows, we did initially put together a short-term agreement with the Village of Park Ridge for fire suppression activities from July 1st till December 31st of this year. We went back and put together a long-term proposal with the Village of Park Ridge now, and a majority of the language has stayed the same. The only things that we added were the change of dates, basically from January 1st of 2023 until May 31st of 2025. And the reason that is because that is when the other 2 contracts come due with the city as far as the village is concerned. We have a secondary contract to provide EMR services through the City of Stevens Point Fire Department in the Village of Park Ridge. That's when that contract will expire. And then also, the city has a contract with the village for utilities as well. And so that's when that contract expires. So when we go to negotiate, all 3 contracts will be open to negotiate at the same time. Then we would be looking for a long-term contract of 5 years after that. That has been what the Village of Park Ridge has signed with us in other regards as far as our EMR contracts and utility contracts, 5-year contracts. There was a draft that went out. There were a few changes that needed to be made. Just some formatting issues, and then also the one addition that we did add to this long-term contract as well is 2% dues. In the short-term contract, as you remember, 2% dues were issued to the department. They had already used them, and I agreed that we could forego those 2% dues for 2022 in the short term. But moving forward, we would expect those 2% dues to be transferred to the city as well. We did use a blended formula like we've talked about in the past. Working with the comptroller's office, we felt that was the fairest way to assess the village. And then on top of that, added in the inspections that our bureau is going to be expected to conduct within the village, and then adding a 10% of cost of doing business on top of that. That is where this agreement how the agreement was put together.
There was one of the other things that was removed. We did receive the letter from Park Ridge requesting this. So that language was removed from this document, so it's no longer in there. What was settled with the comptroller treasurer as far as his concerns about?
So his concerns were just with the formatting issue for 2025 and how that was put together. That has been corrected. So it shows the actual total dollar amount due for each year at the start of that paragraph, and it explains how that will be paid per quarter to the city.
Okay, and that goes directly to the fire department.
That will come to the operational budget of the Stevens Point
Okay.
Fire Department, just like this last short-term contract funding did as well.
Okay, so that did not get changed.
Correct.
Okay.
And the 2% dues, you said transfer to the city, specifically the fire department operational budget, correct?
Yes.
That addition, okay.
So you might have said this, but where are we then with this? You have pretty much the terms hammered out. Has the city attorney reviewed it?
Yes, so
Okay.
the city attorney has reviewed it. There were a few of us that had corrections that we felt needed to be made. They have been made since. The final draft went out earlier today, 10, 11 o'clock, with all the corrections and formatting issues. And with approval from the PFC, I would like to take this forward then to the village for approval.
So we have not approved this, but it is going, if we say now, give you permission to take this to Park Ridge for their approval, then it will come back to us for our approval,
And then move forward
to the city council and the finance.
committees and council, correct?
Yep.
So you're
Okay.
taking a proposal, and then you would come back with
Right.
a approval for
Correct.
contract.
So with the PFC's approval and having this finalized, I'm looking for approval to take this to the Village of Park Ridge for approval. If they approve it and this is the package they want to go forward with, I would bring it back to the PFC, and then it would go in front next month in November. Then it would go in front of committees, and then it would go through the final at council in November as well.
Everybody got that?
I do. I don't see anywhere where the draft was sent to us, though.
We can get you copies of it. That would be fine.
So we don't need a, were you looking for action today, Chief?
Permission
Yeah, what
to
we-
take it to Park Ridge.
Yes.
Not permission, not approval of,
Oh, okay, so
Not
permission to
approval of the
present this final
agreement.
draft?
I'm
Okay.
looking to have permission to take this forward to the village.
Oh, okay.
so it's just basically to introduce it to them, because it may come back and they may say, no, we don't
Yeah.
like this.
They might
we're gonna
mark it
change
up.
this and this. So right now, we're just saying, okay, take this proposal to the Village of Park Ridge and see what comes back.
And we've been tracking all these changes because you presented most of those before, so
Yes.
I'm good with that.
Correct.
So, right, nothing from what you've told us prior, with the exception of the additional 2% dues, has changed in the contract.
So yes, we're going to continue to use the blended formula. Numbers have gone up, 3% in '24, another 3% in '25. We have added the 2% dues into this as well, and then there were just some formatting issues.
Are we still going the 10% above?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, we need a motion.
I'll make a motion to give Chief Moody permission to give the long-term agreement to the Village of Park Ridge for their approval.
Okay,
Taylor seconds.
we have a second by Taylor. Further questions or comments? Yes.
Chief, one concern on me on this is, how many buildings are we looking at in Park Ridge? 200?
To inspect or in
Well,
the
just to
village?
take care of,
I don't have that number for you.
but inspections alone, how many?
Inspections will be 32 additional inspections and a population between 450 and about 600 people.
And how many inspections do we do now in Stevens Point?
Currently, we do 1,503 initials, and then whatever follow-ups that we need to.
Okay. I guess I'm just leading back to is I'm just a little worried that we're starting to stretch our manpower.
Well, it's 32 out of 1,500.
No, not the inspections don't worry me, but the
How many calls do
entire
we have?
structures themselves.
How many calls do we have generally?
So in the month of July, we had 3 false alarms. In August, we had no responses to the village, and in September, we're just finishing up the paperwork on it, and I don't have that answer for you.
Okay.
But I know there were no significant calls in the Village of Park Ridge in the month of September.
I think it's been several years, actually, since they've had a noticeable one. But I do worry because their structures are getting older.
Is there any other questions?
But we would,
Denise?
correct, Chief, we would still, somewhere in that MABUS, be responding if there was a large structural fire without even having this contract because of
Mutual.
Correct.
mutual aid. So,
Correct. So this is not.
Right, our people are
part-
still going.
This is not a part of Metro.
right.
And it won't be a part of Metro. This is going to be part of the MABUS Division 110 agreement that we have throughout the county. And whether we service this area for fire suppression or another agency does, we would work together in suppressing any type of fire that would happen in that village.
Okay, any further questions from the commission?
And and I just would like to add, we have been doing training with our MABUS partners on this type of response as of recent.
Okay.
Any questions from the public? Council? No? Okay, guys, nothing? Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. Everybody understand the motion?
Yep.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Agenda item number 8 is the fire chief's report and the EMS report. Chief Moody.
So I know there was a few questions asked. The Citizens Academy is going great, and we have hosted 3 different nights and then also participated in the Citizens EVOC training, so driver course training, and their range day as well. Speaking of EVOC, Emergency Vehicle Operations course that we hosted out at the airport, all 3 of our crews now have gone through the training this past month, and that was led by firefighter paramedic Jason Pettis and motor pump operator Glenn Novak. So they did a great job getting everyone through this year's EVOC course. Also, in the fire report, just so everyone is aware, the lieutenant's promotional process has been completed, and for the next eligibility list, that will be in effect from 1 January 23 until December 31st of 24. So we run a promotional process every 2 years for our internal candidates to be promoted to the position of lieutenant. We had 6 candidates apply and go through the process, and that has been completed. Over the next 2 years, those individuals, if they are not promoted during that time, they act in those positions when there's a vacancy or when that vacancy occurs and a lieutenant is off duty. Our training site is finally finished up for the winter. We've got everything winterized and taken care of out there. We look forward to a lot of new projects coming next spring. Our new burn facility we'll start pouring the foundation for that in May and start building that in June. That's going to be a 3-story live fire building that will be out at that training site. We're also going to be putting in our confined space and trench rescue training props, our gas props, and we're going to be expanding our footprint to a little over 3.5 to almost 4 acres for our training site by the end of next year. So we look forward to taking care of business again, starting as soon as the snow is gone. The contract, just so everyone is aware, contract has been signed and we are moving forward with that. I'll finish getting signatures yet today, and that'll go into effect tomorrow. So everyone is aware of that as well. And everyone can see that there's been a lot of public activities over the past month. And with next month, or actually this month, being Fire Prevention Month, I would just like to point out that this year is actually the 100th anniversary of fire prevention, and Fire Prevention Week will be October 9th through October 15th. And this year's theme is Fire Won't Wait, Plan Your Escape. So that'll be actually kicked off this past weekend on Saturday, and next week will be Fire Prevention Week. So a lot of tours in and around the firehouse, and we're going out to other facilities as well when requested. Lastly, I would just like to note that I received a letter of resignation this morning, effective immediately from firefighter paramedic Tom Wastart, which I did accept, and we'll be working with him to try to get everything accomplished in a timely manner as we bid him farewell and good luck with his endeavors. He is going to continue on with his career in the military, and he has been very successful thus far, and look forward to seeing what he can do in the future. I do want to thank him for his time with the department. He spent 15 years with the Stevens Point Fire Department, and I know today was a difficult conversation for him to have with me to put that letter of resignation in. But so we do wish him well.
Absolutely.
Chief, can you spell his last name for me?
Wastart.
Okay, thank you.
Chief, if you could forward the contract to the other members on the commission and also the flow chart.
The org chart as well?
The org chart, yeah.
Okay.
And just FYI, on your desk, you should have the new police department flow chart. So, or organizational chart, excuse me. Yes.
Chief, now with the resignation today, what is that, where's our manpower status? 5 down?
We will be 5 down now, effective today.
Thank you.
Okay, we could use a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the fire chief's report.
Thank you. I'll second that. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. On to agenda item number 9, everyone's favorite, which is adjournment, and we are adjourned.
A video of this meeting is available for viewing on the city's website, stevenspoint.com/videos.